Jackie is coming back from slumping over her chair right now. There she is. How's it been going this week, Jackie?
Shit.
It's been going great.
It's
been going fantastic.
It's been going great.
It's been going great. Right. So let's go ahead and take some time here, because we started early. Why not? Let's go ahead and take some time and welcome everybody in. We got Ray Stan in the number one position, of course.
Number one.
And Road Flares in the house. Kitty Cat Whack.
Hello.
Little Cam 51's in the house today.
Welcome.
We got Frankie B.
Hello, my
and
friend.
Melvin WD40. For sure, he's getting us lubed up for tonight.
Lube it up.
Absolutely. You can't go
like a ditty party in this show.
Like Dave likes to say. We cannot go, into the show without being lubed up first. So thank you, WD40, for getting us lubed up.
Catty wet.
Tim James, thank you for joining us.
Always.
We appreciate you being here.
Always.
That's right. Brown Dwarf. Welcome.
David.
Flat Six is in the house. Let's see here. Keep going down.
I know, I'm trying to scroll.
Stargazer. Welcome.
Hello.
Planet Duckworth. That's a new one. Well, welcome. I'm happy you're here. And Frankie B. Christine is in here too.
Mr. Duckworth.
It's been 2 weeks now since we gave out our last shirt. But the problem is that person hasn't contacted us to receive his swag. So
not yet.
Or her swag. For that
Unless you did, and somehow you sent it to the wrong place.
Well, we haven't. Yeah, but as far as I know, we haven't gotten it anyway.
We're trying to figure out where you are.
That's right.
You know what I think we should do? And I know Tim Mothman's really good at helping us with this, like posting our stuff on here so people can reach us. You know what we need is like a thing that they can click on that takes them directly somewhere instead of us having to give out that information every time we have it.
I don't know.
We got to figure that out. We're going to try to make it easier for everybody, because I don't want this to become like a difficult thing for people to find us. And
no, that's right.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. So it is Friday, thank God. Here in Washington State, we've had things called bomb cyclones and atmospheric rivers and all kinds of crap hitting us. So I hope everybody else across the country is doing fantastic, because here in Washington State, we've been inundated with wind and rain and all kinds of garbage, tornadoes too, apparently, water spouts and whatnot. So I hope everybody else is doing okay out there.
It was sunny and 80 here today.
So just shut your mouth.
I just wanted to rub it in a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, we're going to have to call WD-40 in here for some more lube if you're going to start doing that. Definitely. Melvin, help us out, buddy.
Oh, no. Snowed in. Asheville, North Carolina. Whoa.
Wow.
Snowed in already? Dang. We don't even have any snow on the mountains here. Like, usually it's like, well, I don't know. Maybe Tim can tell you better than I can, because we live in the same area. But in the winter here, the mountains are stunning. I don't go near them, but they're pretty to look at.
Well, that's the way to hear is, in Washington State too. It's just beautiful during winter, as you well know.
We're having lovely weather.
Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our intro first, and then we'll get into our show.
Yep.
So welcome aboard. Welcome. And we're going to start off here with the intro. All right.
All right. Hello,
All right,
hello.
we're back.
It looks like I'm the prisoner to the paranormal and you're just with spaced out radio. I actually have a quick question.
Well,
Yeah, I know. I'm finally on this side.
well, that's good. That's a good thing. You're finally on that side tonight. That's fan-freaking-tastic. Anyway,
I have a quick question. Hold on. Before we get started, I have a quick question. I have never heard of a bomb cyclone. What is that? I'm curious.
Well, apparently it's when we get a lot of, it looks like from a satellite view, it looks like a hurricane.
Yeah.
It really does. It's this massive freaking rotating crap that comes in and, hits the coast. I can't tell you a whole lot because I'm not a meteorologist, but yeah, it was bad.
I've never heard of it in my whole life, and I've lived all over the country. So I just thought maybe that was something you guys made up.
Yeah, people here in Washington, maybe,
Okay.
I know that my mother's fence was knocked down. A lot of people, I think there's like 1 million people without power because of that
Eric
crap.
Cooper's on here. Hi, Eric.
Anyway, so I got to fix the fence.
Say hello to Eric. Be kind.
Let's get into the show here a little bit.
He's totally ignoring me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm trying to talk over you.
I know you do. I was saying hello to Eric Cooper. He's on here.
Oh, nice. Hey, Eric Cooper, how you doing?
Just remember who.
This guy right here, Eric Cooper, lives in Washington State, and I've tried to get him on my show before, but it's been kind of tough, and I don't know if we've crossed wires somewhere somehow or whatever. But he's a great paranormal investigator, and I'd really like to hook up with him and do some stuff up north, Mount Baker, Baker Lake, all those places. With UFO activity and with Bigfoot activity, I definitely like to hook up with this guy. Definitely. Anyway, so he'll be on the show later with Dave Scott, and we are going to move forward with what we got going on.
I will also be on later with Dave Scott, so maybe Eric might hang out and talk to me too.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll be in the background, of course, probably on chat because I have to hear what's going on.
We'll drag his butt on.
All right, so prisoners, to the paranormal. What are we talking about here, right? We're talking about individuals that
Thank you.
either were born into the paranormal or had some life experience that brought them into the paranormal, or have gotten to the point where they want to know, about the phenomena, and they ask for it and ask for it and ask for it, and they start to get it. Once you're
Not
in that,
everybody asks for it.
not everybody asks for it. You're right, and sometimes that does happen to people where they get, they'll move into a home, or they'll see something on the road, like let's say it's a Bigfoot, right, crossing the road, and it may be one experience, but the phenomena, once you have that interaction, if you ask for it and ask for it and ask for it, you're going to get it. Even if you ask for it subconsciously, you may get that in your life. So it becomes almost, to a point where you become a prisoner of it. And you may want to break free from it, which is extremely hard to do, as Jackie knows. Every time she goes into it, gets into a new home, or that, it seems to follow her around. I really want to put it over to her and have her talk about that briefly, about how that has been following her for her life, during her life.
Well, on that note, I really do actually feel like that everyone, I don't know if people realize it or not, but everyone has the ability to, I don't even know how I want to explain that. Like, connect with the other side. Okay, everyone really truly has that. And not everybody wants that. Some people want nothing to do with the paranormal, and that's fine. That's where they keep it, that's where it lies. Okay. But then you've got curious people, and then you've got people who it's basically like it runs in your family. And that's usually where we have most of the people who are in the paranormal. It's either one or the other. It's either something that you're born into, or something that you're very curious about, or maybe something happened that you saw, and then it just, piques your curiosity even more. Well, for me, it started because it ran through my family. And so for myself, I started seeing and dealing with the paranormal at very, very young age. And so all through my life, now you guys know, most of you guys know, I've been doing this for 50 years. So this is a long, long time of dealing with all kinds of different, types of paranormal, ghost hunting, Bigfoot stuff. I mean, you name it, I've done it. I literally used to work with a team as an individual. I always did things on my own, but I would work with people that I know. They would call me and ask me to go to locations to help people, like with homes and different things like that. And multiple times I would have things go home with me, connect with me, go home with me, attach to me. And I'm sure many of you guys who watch this, or anybody out there who's in the paranormal, has often had something that you feel like all of a sudden you feel very different. You're not yourself. You're acting strange. Your family and your friends notice odd things about you. And you may not even notice, like that. There was one where I had it for about 2 months when I didn't even personally realize that I had an attachment. I went into such a deep, dark, weird place that wasn't like me. And people who know me, like you guys know me, I'm pretty like happy and easygoing and just fun. And, like that's just who I am as a person all the time. And it was like someone just wiped all that out of my life. And I became like introvert, quiet, sad, depressed, wouldn't go out. I mean, just totally not like myself. And I would cry all the time. And I still didn't even notice it. I'm noticing that now every single time I mention paranormal, my screen gets fuzzy. It never happens until we're on the show. And Lee will tell you that's true. Um, I live with the paranormal every single day. And for me, it's very normal, very used to it. Like this is like one of the rare nights where I will actually stay the night in my own home tonight by myself. My kids are actually gone for the night. And as used to it as I am, actually having paranormal, and I do have a lot of paranormal things going on around me in my home. it probably won't be that easy for me to go to sleep because of it. That's when we're talking about the prisoner of the paranormal. This is kind of a big part of that. I don't fear it, but yet when you're alone, all night long, it kind of gives you that feeling of like you never know what's going to come close. Because I actually, and Lee knows this, I don't know if I share this a lot with you guys, but Lee knows that there is something in my home that often finds a way to hurt me. And we don't know why. I will wake up with bite marks on my arm. I'll wake up with 3 scratches down my arm, um, or different locations. It's often in the same place in my arm, which is very weird. But I've had things wake me up in the middle of the night and just, freak me out, bad dreams, weird stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I do have some stuff going on that I have realized over the years that I can't get away from. And, and I've told people many, 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 many times over the years, like, um, you will get to a place in life if you're in the paranormal that it just finds its way to you. And it does that with me. Like, I don't know if you guys are noticing my screen, but anytime I'm home and I start talking about the paranormal, especially when I'm on the show, and Lee and I can talk for hours and it won't do this, but every single time I bring it up, my screen gets really fuzzy and weird. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see it. But yeah, it's really weird because a part for me, the hard part for me about being the prisoner of the paranormal is basically once you're in it, it doesn't matter if you choose to get out of it. Okay. It's always living in your mind. Okay. It becomes a part of you. And it doesn't matter if it's dreams. It doesn't matter if it's stuff you see or things that have happened to you in the past. Okay. Like for instance, Lee and I do bring up our weekend when we went looking for, Bigfoot at Mount Adams. I am still struggling with that. That is the very first time in all the 50 years I've been doing this that I have ever really truly struggled with wanting to go and do it again. I've told Lee like so many times now, I'm never going back there. And that's weird for me to say. People who know me are like, wait, what? That's not like you, really weird. So, anyway, I'm going to let Lee share some more about how things affect him, but we're going to get into this deeper and deeper and deeper. But that's kind of like where we're coming from, like you either live with it or you're a part of it. Now, there's a lot of people in the paranormal before I turn it over to him that will say, well, I've never had anything come home. I've never had anything affect me in that matter. Doesn't mean you won't. Okay. You never know when something's going to come or affect you in a way to make you feel like, oh, that's it. I'm never going back. I'm never doing that again. I don't want to be a part of that or whatever. And I don't wish that on anybody, but I will say that most people that I do know from the paranormal have had one of those moments. And I would definitely say that Mount Adams, when we had our Bigfoot experience, was that moment more for me than even the attachment that I actually had to have removed. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you and let's talk about that. Let's talk about more stuff.
Well, I think about your situation. It seems to be more as far as ghosts and entities attaching themselves to you and being around you. And it doesn't always come in that form. When you get into this stuff and when this stuff starts happening to you and you start noticing things, it may not show up as a spirit. It may be a UFO encounter. It may be a Bigfoot encounter or something like that, and that curiosity drives you further in into it, and you want to start learning about like sleep paralysis and out of body experiences and
Yeah.
on and on and on, because you become curious. When that happens to you, you're basically inviting those things in. And I think you're much more apt to have those experiences. Now, I've been part of what's called SUFON, Seattle UFO Network, and there's been several people in that group over the years that I belong to that organization that would come to me and say, "Hey, I've never had an experience. I've never had, and I so much want to have an experience like that." That may not be something you're ready for. I just want you to think about that. Because once you get into it, it's going to be very hard to get out of it. It can be. And so I really want people to think about what they're inviting into their environment. Yes, it can be exciting, but it can also be very detrimental as well. I went through, because of the stuff that happened with me, I went through a horrible divorce, but there was other circumstances there as well. And this stuff has followed me through. And I think maybe because of my curiosity to things that have, happened with my parents, I maybe have been born into it, but also my curiosity about it has also, I think, opened the door, has opened the veil to other experiences that I have had. And I really wonder, if I could go back in time to when I was a child, would I be, knowing what I know now, would I be as interested, or would I try to keep that stuff at arm's length? Because once you get interested in this stuff and you start looking into this sort of thing, I think you invite things in. And that can be, for a lot of people, a great struggle.
Yeah. Well, I've actually had people, and I just want to put one little thing out there before you go on, that where I've had other people reach out to me that don't even live near me, multiple people. Now, I don't mean just a couple people. I mean multiple people. Here I go. See, now watch my screen every time I talk about this. That will say, you are like a portal, and my son and I have the exact same gift that my dad had. And I have had people reach out and say the exact same thing about my son, and say that we're like a conduit. How do you say that?
A conduit.
A conduit. And that we are like not inviting ourselves, but it's like just an open portal of them knowing that they can connect with us. And spirit knows when you are sensitive to the paranormal. They know that. And it's like a revolving door. But the problem is, like I said earlier, I don't always know what it is. And I don't always think that it's good. We've had weird things come in our home. I've had good. You can feel it when it's really good, and you can feel it when it's not good. And I, over the last several months, have been going through quite a bit of weird things. And it makes me wonder, because I don't have the answers. I am still learning just like everybody else. I am not an expert in this field. I've been doing this stuff for 50 years, and not in a million years am I anywhere near like being an expert of the paranormal. I'm going through stuff just like everybody else. I'm still trying to learn and figure things out. So yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I've had people reach out to me, and people who have been close actually come into my home and say, whoa, it's like hundreds of dead people here, and there's only one other time where I've heard something like that, and that was in a mortuary.
Yeah. That's kind of freaky.
Yeah. Go ahead. Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good, Jackie. So my thought is you don't know what form it's going to take necessarily. Even if you want, if you say, well, I want to have purely like Bigfoot experiences or whatever, you're going to get what runs the gamut. I'll tell you guys a little story. Something that happened with me. I owned a home in what's called Normandy Park. I inherited the home. And I heard, this was after I got into like looking for aliens and looking for, UFOs, that sort of stuff in the sky, right? I wanted answers for what I had seen, when I was younger. And I started doing this more and more, going out on the weekends and filming the sky and all this stuff. And I never had issues at home. But one day I heard like cupboard doors slamming and drawers slamming and this sort of stuff upstairs in the house. We had two kitchens. And so I went upstairs and all the cupboard drawers were wide open. All the drawers were pulled out. Everything was wide freaking open. And this is a big kitchen. This is a huge, like a 200 square foot kitchen, major kitchen, big, like almost industrial type kitchen that my grandparents had built. And it was just odd. And instead of being frightened by this, I actually was like, wow, that is the coolest freaking thing. Amazing, and my reaction wasn't fear. It was interest. It was like, wow, this is the coolest thing that I've ever seen. What the heck is going on? And since that time in the house, things really started to pick up. I started smelling cigarette smoke in the house.
Yeah, I've had that many times.
Yeah, and my father that had passed away and my uncle had passed away, were both heavy smokers. And then we had an organ, like a keyboard organ type thing down in the basement, and that would start to turn on and play by itself. I mean, we had all kinds of crazy stuff happen. But I think it was because I had opened myself up so much to the UFO phenomenon that other things started happening. And I think that's what's going to happen to people that go out in the field and start doing that stuff, that want to be open to those things. And like I said, and Jackie knows this, I've had less negative stuff happen with me, but a lot of people don't have a lot of positive, and it's mostly negative. So you really have to be careful, and really just take your time. And if you are in a situation where you get some negative stuff going on, you need to reach out to your church or something like that and get some help. Yeah. I can't imagine going through that. Luckily, I've been pretty lucky as far as that goes. And I always say Archangel Michael's prayer when I do end up going out for a paranormal ghost hunt sort of stuff, like I've done a few times. So, basically, when you go out to a location like that, you don't want to bring anything home with you. So you let that be known. And then you say Archangel Michael's prayer before and after you leave that location.
Yeah.
That's huge for me. That's like one of my rules in the group that I go with, the other two guys. I mean, that's just one of the laws. It's automatic. So it's good to have your boundaries. It's good to set your boundaries. It's good to try to guard yourself from attachments and that sort of thing. And I think you've got something to say about that.
Yeah.
Because
well, I'm reading quite a few of the comments here, and I was just wanting to respond to a couple things that I'm seeing. Like for instance, Eric said there's a connection between some UFO cases and hauntings. Don't think Bigfoot is an alien, however. Now, anyone who follows me knows that I am very much 100% a believer in interdimensional beings and that Bigfoot and aliens are very much connected. Okay. No offense to anybody who feels otherwise. Like you, Eric, you might have your way of thinking and other people feel another way. I'm just responding in the way I believe because, and I'll tell you why. I've been looking for Bigfoot for 50 years. And yes, I understand that's probably more than most people or what most people have gone out and done. Looking for Bigfoot became a really, really big thing over probably the last 5 to 10 years. Okay. I've been doing this literally my entire life. And the reason why I say this is because I have seen things that are not of the normal way of thinking and feeling on planet Earth. Okay. Um, I have had Bigfoot UFO connections on the exact same area when we have a sighting. There will be something UFO related. Obviously, we don't know what it is. It's a UFO. We have seen orbs. Normally, they're kind of like a golden color, like orange. We will see 3 orange orbs floating above. We have actually seen, even Lee and I had this experience, okay? At the exact same time in the exact same location together, we had an experience where we could see a Bigfoot. Okay. It was on our thermal camera. We could see it clearly. But when the more we got close to it, it literally disappeared in front of our eyes. These are things that are not of the norm. Okay. We as humans, we don't do that. Animals of the world that we are used to, they don't do that. Now, do I believe that they cloak? Yes, I do. I believe that they have the ability to cloak. But do I absolutely believe 100% that they are somewhat connected from maybe another planet, a portal, alien beings? Yes, 100%. And if people don't agree with me, I am totally okay with that. You know, we're talking about my personal experiences. I'm not trying to push how I feel onto anyone. And I say that a lot on this show. These are the way and the reason why I believe this way is because of my research, because of what I have done over the last 50 years, where I have gone, what I have seen, and putting it together. Almost every single location that I go to that I have a somewhat of a Bigfoot related experience, no matter what that experience is if it's seeing something, hearing something, feeling something, whatever that may be, I will almost always have some kind of sighting that looks like a UFO, lights flying off, orbs flying above. It's usually very high up in the trees, but it's usually 3, sometimes like almost white, but most of the time they're like a kind of like a golden orange. But Lee will tell you we had this experience, so I'll let him share how he feels about that.
Well, you know, like I was saying, I don't think that once you are in this, once you become a part of this, and I really do think it's becoming a part of whatever that is, whether or not the veil becomes thinner for you, or whether you're maybe called to it, because I do have a friend that feels like he has been called into it and he's a part of it. Not that his parents had anything to do with it, like it didn't come down through generational lines or that, but he felt like he was called to it. And he went out and, had his first UFO experience. He felt like he was called to the location. And, from that time on, for the rest of his life, he's had encounters. Gosh, I want to get him on the show so bad, but he's stubborn as a mule. I'll tell you what. But that sort of thing happens as well. Is people don't want to necessarily share their experiences, right? But I wish more people would. We've got disclosure that's basically starting to slowly break open.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than it has a lot more to do with than just UFOs. There's a deeper thing going on here that we don't quite have a grasp on. And
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily think it originates with people. I think it's just all around us all the time, and some of us somehow have been pulled into it just a little bit. Where some of us seem to have there's a thinner veil for some
Yeah.
reason, you know, and where either they're attracted to us because the veil is thinner with us, or something is going
Mm-mm.
on. And I wish I had a better grasp of it. I really
Yeah.
do. Um, because, you know, I'd love to be able to show people what, you
Yeah.
know, we've experienced. I've done my best as far as putting out the videos
Yeah. Yeah.
and so forth that I've captured.
Hmm.
I really have, but it's not just about me. It's about
Yeah.
Jackie. It's about Eric
Hmm.
Cooper. It's about Tim. It's about all of you people out there that have had these experiences.
Turn this off and
And
see.
when we grow up in this, you know, in this world, and people are telling us this stuff doesn't exist, and you know, it
Well, I was
affects us
just
all.
actually gonna say something about that because, resonate. I don't know who
Mhm.
you are. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know who you are in here. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to throw you under the bus. I'm just um I'm just gonna mention you because I have noticed that multiple times you will write things that Bigfoot doesn't exist. There are no Bigfoots, and Patterson film, the Patterson Gimlin film is fake. Um, First of all, Lee and I, first of all, we are not here to try to convince anybody into believing that there's a Bigfoot. Have we had our own personal experiences with Bigfoot? 1,000,000%. Do we know
Mhm.
that it exists? 1,000,000,000%. Do we want you to believe because we believe? No, we don't. We do
Mhm.
not care. We do not care one iota. If you believe, don't believe,
Mhm.
whatever, it does not bother us. We're not trying to convince people in any way, shape, or form what we've been through, what we experience, what we see, the things that we have encountered. That is not why we do this. We're just sharing our experiences and we hope you enjoy them. Bottom line.
That
Um,
that's
yeah,
right. Mhm.
honestly, resonate. I hope that if you're even interested in going out, that you will one day have your own experience to validate that what we're talking about is in fact true. Okay. But do I
Mhm.
care if that's something that you do? No, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. You do you, we'll do us. But what I would like to say is instead of saying this doesn't exist, maybe go out and have an experience. Maybe go out and see for yourself and then make a decision. But most people, honestly, that will say, oh, this doesn't exist, that doesn't exist, it's because they've never gone out or they've never actually had that type of experience. Um, I personally have had Bigfoot experiences. So has Lee. We had one major one together,
Mhm.
and I have no doubt in my mind because I've seen it. I felt it. I've, we
Heard it.
had our own a million times over. We, without a doubt, know that Bigfoot exists. And we're totally okay that if you don't believe, that doesn't bother us at all. Totally okay with that. We does not affect us in any way, shape, or form. But what I
Yeah.
would like to say is for people like you who say they don't exist, instead of just saying they don't exist, go out. Go
Hmm.
like go find some friends, go camping somewhere that people say there might be Bigfoot activity. If you believe in it or not, you might actually have an amazing experience and change your mind. Now,
Yeah.
if you're not into it, that's okay. Totally okay with that. Doesn't, affect us. But we just want you guys to know, like people, who do not agree or do not believe, totally okay with that.
Mhm.
But our experiences that we've had are real. And that's why we're here, and we want to enjoy this with you guys, because we want to share the experiences that we've had. And in fact, we have had Bigfoot experiences. So, when we say, yes, Bigfoot exists, and yes, we've had this experience or that experience, those are real. We're not on here trying to bring some crazy BS story to you guys. Like, Lee and I had probably I would have to say, probably the scariest night of my entire life experience with Bigfoot. So,
Yeah,
and
I would just say for
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't believe, go listen to episode 1 and 2 of Element 115. You're going to hear some things
Yeah.
that are
And that
absolutely
is not
freaking
us.
incredible.
I will
So
straight up tell you on my children's lives, that is not us making any of those noises or any of that.
you will hear it all in episode 2. That's where we brought out the
Yeah.
evidence. The story is
We
pretty
were
much
in
in.
a tent the entire time recording, and it is mind blowing. And if that doesn't do it for you, I highly suggest go out and have your own experience before just putting it out there in the world like they don't exist. Because if you're not going out and looking, how do you know that?
Yeah, and I really I want to key in a little bit, Jackie, on what you're saying, because if you go out there with the intent, with the thought in your mind that they don't exist, you might not see anything. It's probably a pretty good chance that you won't.
Well, you'll probably convince yourself that what you're hearing is something else, or what you're seeing is something else. And let me tell you guys something. And I've had this discussion with Lee. After the whole rub down thing in the tent, I have tried to tell myself, oh no, that didn't exist. Because I, in my mind, got so freaked out by it, even though I know for a fact it did. And Lee knows that it did. It has really messed with me. And actually, this is the reason why we decided to have this show, because I called Lee maybe about a week or so ago, and I said to him, we need to have a show on basically being a prisoner to the paranormal, because that was back in June of this summer. So here we are, what, months later, almost Thanksgiving. I am still to this day having nightmares. I am afraid to be home alone. I'm 54 years old. I mean, like, what's wrong with me? I mean, these are things I never thought about before. Like, I didn't care about before. But it puts a different perspective in your mind of what's out there, okay? And what you went through. And I still wake up in the middle of the night in a sweat, scared, because I will have a nightmare of of us being in that exact same location, and I'll call him the next day and be like, "Whoa! Like I had a crazy rough night, and what happened out there is still with me." That's what we're talking about when it's prisoner of the paranormal, because that is still affecting me in a really, really, really hard way. And I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with it, how to move forward. Do I want to go back? Am I done? And that was never an option for me. Never. And Lee knew that. So when we say prisoner to the paranormal, we literally mean it's like it's not going away. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it'll forever follow you.
And be with you.
Yeah, there's one-offs. Like I think I said this earlier, where somebody sees a Bigfoot crossing the road or whatever like that. But
yeah,
the other part of this being a prisoner of the paranormal is people that see this sort of thing, and it freaks them out, and they're like, "What the heck did I just see? I've been told my whole life that this sort of thing doesn't exist from the time that I was in, kindergarten on up, and people just say that this sort of thing doesn't exist. But what it does is it almost flips a switch in your mind, and now that person that saw that thing in the road is like, now that person is out there looking, wanting answers for what he saw or she saw, and they become almost like a prisoner to it, right? Because the interest has just ballooned into something massive in their life. And like I said earlier, it could affect your marriage, it could affect your relationships, it can affect just so many things, even your job and your career. I mean, it can really affect a lot of things if you're not careful. And that has happened to me. I mean, that's why I keep on Facebook, I keep everything separate. I don't have anything that's tied to me. I keep everything separate as far as work and as far as my hobbies are concerned, because of the stigma behind all of this stuff. So you really do become a prisoner to it. And I just want everybody to be very aware of what road this can take you down if you're not cognizant of it. And think about, what if you did see something? What if, and how would I deal with that? Because it does take a toll, and you need to be prepared. Really need to think
ahead. I just want to add one thing to what you're saying. The best part about all this, you guys, is that we all have our own experiences, and it doesn't matter if it's the tiniest little thing, like you see something out of the corner of your eye. Believe it or not, those are actually spirits. I know a lot of people don't believe that. They think like, oh, I think I saw something. Well, guess what? You did. When you think you see something scurry past, or you're sitting there watching TV and out of the corner of your eye, you see some black thing shoot across the room. These are experiences, you guys. All right. A lot of us want to, basically like just, it's just nothing, just me. Like I have a floater in my eye, or, and hey, whatever. Some of us don't want to know. Some of us don't want to, admit that there is something nearby. Totally okay. I get that. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, and I want you guys to know that as human beings, experiences are what life's about. Okay. And we're all going to have different ones. And that's amazing. That's the best part about this, is that we can all come together and share those amazing experiences. If you don't have an experience of Bigfoot, or you don't have an experience of seeing a ghost, totally okay. Totally okay. We still want you here. We still love you. We still want your opinions. We still care about you. We're not asking you guys to hang out with us just if you have the exact same things we have. We just want you guys to enjoy us, enjoy, the conversation. That's why we love, reading all your comments and putting them up here and answering as many as we can, because we love that interaction and learning. And it is totally okay if we all come to the table with different experiences. And that's what makes it so great. If we were all the same, it would be boring. So I just hope you guys enjoy it. And no matter what we come to the show with, and if you don't feel the same way, that's totally okay. We're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It may start for some people as mundane as all of a sudden, who's going to be calling you, and then they call you, or you think about a person and they call you. I mean, it can start out just as mundane as having a dream about something that's going to happen, and then it happens, or deja vu, or those things, or realizing in your mind while you're driving down the road that all of a sudden you feel somebody staring at you, and you take a look and they are. I mean, those things, they really are. People don't understand why that happens. Science haven't really figured it out. So we'll put them in the box of paranormal. But that's really kind of the start of it. And then, of course, then from there you have interest in why is this happening? What is happening? And then, your interest can grow and blossom. People get on YouTube and start binge watching all kinds of things, and And
Yeah,
their
he
interest
loves
just,
going down that road. I'm telling you, he's a binge watcher of the videos.
I don't even know what she's talking about. I really don't.
He'll send me crazy stuff.
This one over here. All right. Anyway.
Come on.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to start somewhere. Something will happen in your life, and then you're going to have an interest, or maybe you were born into it.
Yeah,
If you have that interest, that's just going to blossom, right?
yeah.
You're going to have
Just the thing is, honestly, it's just be open-minded. You
Mhm.
know, if you have an experience or you just have an interest, being open-minded is the best way to go about it, because if you're interested in Bigfoot and you go out looking for let me tell you something. There were many years, okay, that I would go to a location and find nothing.
Mhm.
Okay. There'd be maybe one thing out of a whole area that we would find, and then nothing else. Then we might go to a different location and find, you know, 1,000 things. You know what I mean? It's just like, if you have an interest, if something really interests you and you have a passion for it, go enjoy it. Be open-minded, you know?
Mhm.
And like, okay, for instance, I still have the passion, I still have the interest of Bigfoot. I'm a little on the fence right now when I'm ready to go back, and that's where I'm at. Okay? That's where I am personally. And Lee totally gets that
Mhm.
because he was there when I went through it. He knows how I'm feeling. So he's the only person on earth who truly understands where I'm coming from because he went through it and
Because
I
I
went
fell
through it.
asleep during it.
But the thing is like I feel validated, and I know I'm not alone
Mm.
in what I went through and my
Yeah.
experience of it and how I feel now.
Mhm.
And the reason why I'm struggling right now is because of that one experience. And I never in a million years thought to myself, oh, and nothing's ever going to happen to make me feel like I'm not going to go out the next day or the next weekend. And this one did.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's okay, because maybe in a month or 2 months or 6 months or a year, I'll be ready to go back out again. But yeah, that one really messed with me. And that's exactly why I called Lee and said, we have to have a show
Yeah.
about literally being a prisoner to this, because I feel like this one has really messed with me in a way where I can't be free of it. And that's what I mean by being the prisoner of it. It's like it has somehow affected me far beyond anything else I've ever gone through. And I can't even begin to tell you. I've been through a lot of things, a lot of scary things, a lot of weird things, but this one topped it all. And it's going to take me a minute to get my comfort level back. And that's what started us talking about doing this show, because it truly does get to a point where you just you don't know how to free yourself of it. Okay. And I very much want to feel freed from the feeling that I am personally going through of
Mm.
what happened to us at Mount Adams,
Yeah.
because it was intense. It was
Happened in a tent.
strange. Like, I mean, I'm not even sure if there are true words to
Mm.
how to explain how I feel about that weekend. It was scary. I've never, in all the years doing paranormal, have I ever had a panic attack, and I did.
Mm.
I heard things I've never heard before. I felt things I've never felt before. It's just on another level.
Yeah, it was definitely on another level. But
Yeah.
you know, it seems like when we met like 4 years ago,
Mhm.
I knew that we had to go to this location, and I don't know why I knew that we had to go to this location. And when we started driving out there, we had picked a different location. Where did we end up? Is right at the location that I had picked, 4
Yeah.
years ago. So it it's like we were being called to that spot. That's what it feels like.
Mhm.
Um, maybe for
Yeah.
this experience or whatever. But I don't know if you can consider that like some sort of precognition, precog,
Yeah.
or what. But I think that time is much different than what we perceive it to be. And I think,
Yeah.
under the our physical everyday life, I think there's another timeline that we somehow are able to view in some way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that people, yourself, a lot of people on here have had glimpses. I'm sure just about everybody have had glimpses of that other timeline. And
Yeah.
that's what we're recalling when someone's staring at you, or someone's going to call or something. I think somehow we dip into or pull from another reality in some way. And in a lot of ways, those people, you all that are sensitive to things,
Yeah.
I,
Especially me.
especially you,
Yes.
and I'm sure many, many, many other people, those that pull on that are able to see that somehow, have a greater ability to have things happen, or more things happen to those people for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, that some people have. I guess it's almost like somebody has a foot in another universe. You know what I mean? Like in another
Yeah.
reality somehow. And I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know if it can be measured. If I can get a device that would be able to measure something like that, it'd be great. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
So
I don't
it's up.
know. Sorry, real quick. I just want to say, Scott, I don't know what's going on. I just saw your message about getting booted. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with that. I apologize if something kicked you off that has nothing to do with us. So,
No, we haven't kicked
oh, yeah,
anybody.
no, we don't do that. Um,
No.
like I said earlier, we're open to everybody's opinions. Just be respectful of others.
So
That's all we ask.
Amanda Carroll, we're just going to tell you, if you're wondering about Mount Adams,
Yeah.
our first and our second episode of Element 115 here on Spaced Out Radio is a great place to start.
Yeah.
You'll hear in the first episode the story of what happened there. And in the second episode, you're going to be able to hear the evidence that we pulled
Some of it.
from our parabolic mics, and from some other microphones that we
Yeah.
had in the area. And also
Yeah.
there's some video there as well of the Sasquatch that we captured on thermal. So that's all
And
there.
speaking of that, just one little thing that I'm glad that you were talking about that, because just speaking about that, okay, um, I don't know if we've mentioned this to everybody before on the show, but Lee and I are actually um, putting something very special together. You want
Mm.
to tell them what that is?
Well, we are working on the documentary from Mount Adams. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very excited about this, you guys. I mean, this is a huge, 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 massive deal to us. And I'm going to tell you, I have considered doing documentaries about other things that I've been through, and nothing, and I mean it, nothing compares to what this one is. And I'm actually glad now that I waited to make this one. But I have to say, just one little quick thing about our audio. I know we got to go here in just a couple minutes, but I just want to say, I every so often will tell Lee, I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to some of that audio. I can't do it. I
You have
cannot
it.
bring
I sent
myself to. I
I
have it
sent you the
all.
link.
I got on
Maybe
one day and
you
tried.
know we know what you should do is try to make this link, for so that everybody can listen to it, because it's crazy.
Oh, it's
There's
got.
probably about
We
15
would have to
hours of
shorten
audio.
it.
Oh my
We would have
God.
to shorten it to the good stuff, because there's a
Mm.
lot of just like you'll be listening to. Now,
Frogs.
here's the thing. It's literally like 30 hours long, and it's nonstop noise. You hear the water, you hear the frogs. At one point, you hear them moving around in our camp. You hear the snap of our tent. You hear logs being thrown in. You hear chatter. I mean, it's insane. You hear everything going on. This thing caught everything. And he didn't even have the volume all the way up. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, the mic setting on
But
one of the
I'm not gonna
microphones
lie.
wasn't
I
maxed.
will go to listen to it, and then I'm like, oh God. And I have to put it down because I'm just like, it takes me right back there. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna cut this one here pretty quick. Here we got 2 minutes. So
Thanks for joining
Dave
us,
Scott's
guys.
up next, and you know he's gonna have a fantastic guest with him tonight, and I cannot wait to sit in the background and listen because it's going to be a good one. Anyway, go out, get yourself some Spaced Out Radio swag, spacedoutradio.com. And you guys, everybody in here, you have a great freaking weekend.
Eric Cooper's up next with Dave. So you guys, please go watch, stay on, watch. I'll actually be on at 11. I will see you guys there.
All right, here we go.